Alright, good morning. I am awake. At least I attempted, guys. I am here. Alright, you guys, hopefully you can see me. Yep, good morning. Okay, so welcome to session 47, the Homebody Cafe. Alright, so today's stream itinerary includes greetings, conversation practice, questions, comments, concerns, and or suggestions. I'm also checking the audio right now, so hopefully things are pretty good. So far so good. Hopefully things are alright. Anyways, let's start with our session for today. Greetings. So, good morning. I am awake. Miraculously, my body was able to wake up. I actually slept really late last night. The melatonin didn't work, I'm gonna be honest. But all of a sudden, I just fell asleep, and then I woke up, and I'm like, okay, I'm here. So, yeah, I'm here, and I think I covered everything I wanted to say for greetings during the grammar lesson yesterday, and I had to discontinue one of the streams just because, like, my Instagram stopped recording. So I'm here. What's the word for it? I'm here, so I'm like reattempting that. Yeah, so I'm reattempting that here. Sorry, so like it's, you know, I just woke up like literally 10 minutes ago, and I'm probably gonna forget words, so please excuse my foggy head in the morning. I'm still trying to catch what I want to say. Anyways, I covered everything I wanted to say about my trip to Japan, and I feel like this is actually important to talk about because when I came back from Japan, I was having a lot of like deep thoughts, and I was being very reflective on life choices, and I decided that would shape the questions for today's conversation practice, and I thought it would be interesting to go over this topic. So let's just make a segue straight into the conversation practice. Have you guys heard of the phrase life crisis? If yes, provide an example of an experience when you heard the expression used, or share a sentence where you heard this expression being used. Most likely you guys are watching this video after the stream ends, so feel free to pause and then compare your answers. I'm gonna go ahead and give an example of when you heard the phrase life crisis. I hear this expression a lot, especially at my age. So I heard it at the beginning of my early 20s, and it's just like a repetition of hearing this expression throughout this age, leading to my late 30s, and then I heard that expression again. I think it was used when in the 50s, like when people not in the 50s, when people turn 50, etc. We'll talk more about it. So for example, I've heard the expression quarter life crisis and midlife crisis. That probably sounds familiar to you guys. And oftentimes, the moment I would hear this expression, it would take place when a huge life event takes place in someone's life. Okay, so here's the definition of life crisis. So according to Google, or from BetterUp, we have life crisis is an umbrella term describing a person's psychological response to major life changes or events. The American Psychological Association defines it as a time of distress and major adjustment associated with a significant life experience, such as like a divorce or the death of a family member. So just know that these are just examples of a major or significant life experience. Like divorce and death of a family member is definitely one of them, but it's not limited to just these experiences. Another significant life experience could be like, I would say if you are going through a new chapter in your life, if you're taking a new job, if you're moving to a new country, etc., or maybe you're planning to just move to a new country, that counts as a significant life experience. So you could experience a life crisis. It's just your response to that, or like the feeling of just feeling heavy distress, an adjustment to these life experiences. So I mentioned earlier, if you recognize the following: quarter life crisis and midlife crisis, or I actually learned that it has another name. It's called later life crisis, but I've heard the expression midlife. So the definition of quarter life crisis. What is a life crisis at 20 called? So according to Merritt Goldstein of the Boston Globe, the quarter life crisis occurs in one's 20s, usually after entering the real world. So examples: after graduating from college, after moving out of the family home, or both. So this could also take place if you just turned, for example, 17 or 18 from high school. So if you choose not to pursue college and you go into the real world and start pursuing a job, and maybe that's the life you chose, you don't want to go to college, you just want to work, it is a huge adjustment because you're now entering the real world. And I still remember, like in my early 18, like when I turned 18, I was going through a lot of fear when I got to that age, because it felt like every decision I made mattered, and it would significantly affect everything that I would do with my everyday life. So another one, we have midlife crisis, which we will talk more in tomorrow's stream. The definition of a midlife crisis is a period of transition in life where someone struggles with their identity and self-confidence. It happens anywhere from 40 years old to 60 years old and affects men and women. A midlife crisis is not a disorder, but is mainly psychological. So remember, midlife crisis is just like, I usually learn that around the 40s or 60s, you are kind of at that age where you kind of cement your personality. And it could, oftentimes when I listen to midlife crisis, it's because maybe you're not accepting the big changes that do happen at these later times of this year, especially because people tend to miss the younger version of themselves or missing things that they used to do. So I know midlife crisis takes place because of that. Alright, so next, an excerpt of a quarter life crisis. We will read this blog post together. I will be opening this tab here, and I think it's quite interesting to read. I found this over on Coda, I believe. So you're in your mid-20s to mid-30s. Let's go ahead and just open this. This is just a segment of what it looks like. Whoops, what just happened? We're too early into this. Alright, so yeah, it's from Quora. Okay. So we have, what does a quarter life crisis feel like? And how does one overcome it? I'm also gonna go ahead and zoom. It's by Kim Roach, travel blogger, life chaser. This was made it was updated 5 years ago. So you're in your mid-20s to mid-30s and you're thinking, what the F am I doing with my life? Life suddenly has slapped you across the face and you despise what you're seeing. You're frustrated and dissatisfied with your career path, finance, location, relationships, how you're spending your free time, or all of the above. You begin to feel like you're not serving your life purpose. Okay, I feel this sentence very, very strongly. Let me know if you guys also resonate with any of these words here. It's like you've dug yourself into a hole and you don't know how to get out. Anxiety, stress, and depression begin to take over. You feel stuck and unfulfilled. You crave drastic change. Welcome to your quarter life crisis. Don't worry, you're not alone. Experiencing a quarter life crisis is quite common. It is a period of uncertainty, a journey of transition, an opportunity to find yourself. You realize you have been on autopilot, living a life that doesn't exactly satisfy you or, more importantly, make you happy. So you begin to do some serious soul searching. Many people experience the stress of a quarter life crisis, and it is not easy to escape. This is why most people give up or postpone making the changes necessary to find happiness and satisfaction in life. But what is going to separate you from the others is the action you take during this period. Okay, so I like this. I love this reading so far because honestly, I have not read this yet. I kind of just glanced at it when I looked at this website earlier when I was creating my presentation 2 weeks ago. And I love that it says that you were just on autopilot. So you kind of realize when you were as a child going through K through 12, for example, you kind of just had to follow whatever someone laid out for you. You followed a plan to success from your elementary school days, getting to high school, etc. And then all of a sudden, the rug is pulled away from you, and now you're on your own. You're making choices by yourself. Of course, when I was in high school and elementary school, sorry, not that. When I was in middle school and high school, I was given the liberty to choose the classes I wanted to take. So that's like sprinkling a little bit of independence, you know? And I think that was probably my early, my early adulthood kind of experience in terms of, oh, I'm gonna have fun and choose these classes, you know? And I remember back then I was like, oh yeah, I love that. I love that the school gave me that right. I feel like an adult, etc. But it's not really the same as making choices for yourself in college and over-preparing yourself. I remember that no one prepared me for that. No one prepared me that I had to be on top of creating like a personalized class experience for myself to see what can balance my schedule, etc. It was really scary for me when I was 18 because at the time I was dropped out of nursing school because the program I was with, they didn't think I was able to keep up with submitting things on time. And I kind of find that ridiculous because nurses usually submit their work after the shift. So I'm like, what? But they wanted me to submit it by lunch, and it was hard for me because I had to deal with patients that needed a lot of attention. So I would always submit my paperwork late, but the point was I did submit it, albeit after lunch. Because during lunch I would write my paper and then I would submit it. And then that was how it was, and they didn't like that. So of course I was dropped from the program, even though in class I did really well. I was not the smartest, but I had like the highest grade, one of the highest grades in class. For high schoolers at that time. So I was a high schooler when I was taking nursing classes because we had something called like ROP after school. And yeah, after that experience where I was dropped, I was just very fragile and I was afraid of every choice that I would make would hurt me. So yeah, it's just really scary to know that whatever decision you make for yourself in college is gonna impact your life significantly. So that's kind of when I realized, like, I'm not on autopilot anymore. I'm taking the wheel of my life, and I'm literally making choices that affect the quality of my life. Okay, so yeah, I like the words that I believe the author is Rachel, right? Yeah, Kim, sorry, not Rachel. So I like the words that she uses here because I definitely resonate with the words that she selected. Okay. What to do when you're experiencing a quarter life crisis? Stop comparing yourself to others. Remember, this is your journey, not anyone else's. The most toxic thing you can do to your self-esteem is to compare yourself to others. If you're looking to make changes in your life, you may be starting out completely from scratch. So it is unfair to compare yourself to someone who has been on their personal journey for a while. A level 1 cannot compare to a level 10. This is a beautiful reminder, and I actually really like this because I remember when I went to parties, I was kind of compared to my other cousins. They'd be like, oh, look at this person doing this and this. Like, that's so awesome. Like Hannah is doing this and this and this. And, it's like, why does it matter that my life is being compared to this other person? Like, I didn't go to nursing school. I'm doing education as my career, etc. It was kind of scary, at that time, not knowing what I wanted to be and constantly needing that validation of knowing that you're going to be okay is really important at this time because you want to remember that what you're doing is fine. Not knowing what to do is totally normal. That you cannot compare yourself to someone else. You can look at someone as an inspiration to kind of shape out your decisions if you'd like. Like, for example, let's say I have someone who's doing a similar path as me. They're doing the same route in education, etc. They're doing what I want. You can look at them as an influence, as an inspiration, but not as a comparison. And it's just like they said here, it is very toxic to compare you who is at level 1 to someone who's at level 10 because they've been doing this for a long time. So find influence and inspiration, not competition, because no one is living in your shoes, no one is in your skin, etc. And I needed to remember hearing this when I was 18. Actually, there was a letter I received from my grandpa that's actually on this wall here that I received on December 25th, 2014. And this is from my Lolo and Lola when they wrote to me on Christmas, I believe. And the message says, "Dearest Hannah, remember you can never compare your journey with someone else's. Your journey is your own journey, not a competition. Love you very much, Lolo and Lola." I thought that was really sweet, and I feel like those words really carried me over my dark periods during that time, especially during this phase of my life. Because it was dated 2014, I just graduated from high school, and I needed to hear those words over and over again, so I'm really glad I had that message there to remind me and just keep me going. So yeah, that's one of the things that got me through my quarter life crisis. Or, well, it was close to quarter life crisis because I was at 18. This was like a major period of my life, but quarter life would technically refer to 25 years. But I think quarter life crisis can last between 18, so after high school, up to like late 20s, etc. I feel like it just never ends. You will constantly revisit a quarter life crisis because it's the year where you will constantly revisit making big decisions. Alright, so chill out on the social media. Put your phone down. Limit your time on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, all of it. Your time is valuable and you can be put towards self-improvements rather than wasted stalking the lives of strangers. It is also important to remember that people choose what they want you to see. They choose to only post the highs and never the lows. These are unrealistic expectations that may hurt your self-esteem. See point above. That is very true. I remember I had some friends and also like influencers that I used to follow on YouTube tell me, like, I guess there was a YouTuber I definitely followed because she was one of my favorite inspirations in life. Her name was Lindy Sang, or Bub's Beauty, and I remember she's talked about chilling out on social media. She was saying something like, oh, you can't really compare your life with someone else's because you guys are not the same, etc. So it was actually a good time that she brought that topic up, because I was going through a phase in my life where I was like, why wasn't I like this person? How come I didn't make it to nursing school and this person came out successful? Or I envy this person because they didn't go to school because they already went and traveled first, etc. So it's like, you cannot compare yourself to these people because they were going through a different period of their life. And you know, like maybe some people graduated college ahead of me, people who were younger than me, or like my underclassmen in high school graduated high school faster than me, you know? And of course I felt insecure about that, but I'm like, you know, you need to remember we're not in the same phase in life. We're all different. So yeah, don't compare yourself to someone else's, especially your own classmates. And it's a really good reminder of that. Next, why? Ask yourself deep personal and self-discovery questions. If you feel lost and don't really know how to identify yourself anymore, then take a moment to self-reflect. Ask yourself questions that you wouldn't normally ask yourself. Questions that help define who you are and what you want. Write down your answers. Yes, this is very important. You should write things down. Having having a physical proof of your state of mind really helps put things into perspective. I cannot stress how important this was for me. If you need to journal, I feel like journaling really helps for me as an outlet besides talking to friends. Because back in the day, I used to talk about my feelings to friends and I would like openly vent about everything. And I realized it was just super unhealthy of me to just vent over and over again of like different things on my mind without asking the permission of my friends who were willing to accept venting, etc. So I found that writing things out eventually answered what I needed to do. So writing things down, reading what I wrote maybe a week later, etc. It was nice to see after some time to have a physical proof of where my state of mind was. Was I spiraling, for example? Spiraling meaning like I was losing my mind over like this transition of my life. Am I just being overwhelmed? What was my goals at that time, etc. It did help, especially through traumatic experiences, when I did write down my state of mind at that time. And of course I would reread it later and just, you know, reflect on it and just think about it and let it simmer. It's actually really good as well when you are asking yourself really difficult questions and just thinking about like, where do you want to go in life? This was important to me because when I was pursuing my degree, I asked myself, you know, I have to be really selfish with what I wanted to do, because I did nursing because I thought, oh, my parents wanted it, it was a stable job, whatever, I can do it, I'm smart enough, I am caring enough to handle it. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, can my mental health like keep up with it? Because you have to sacrifice a lot as a nurse, and that's why nurses are heroes. And of course teachers are heroes too. Every occupation, you guys are all heroes. Let's not compare and have a war on that. It's just something I personally cannot do for long term, I think. It's because I know there are times that you won't be able to keep holidays for yourself, you have to sacrifice, etc. And of course you are dealing with people and you will be in a field where it can feel a little bit traumatizing to deal with that level of stress every day, or 3 times a week, depending on your shift. 3 times a week, meaning like you have 12-hour shifts back to back, for example, because my best friend has a 12-hour shift for nursing. Yeah, it's just something I just can't do, to be honest with you guys. And I always ask myself, like, is this something that I wanted to do for my life? So you really gotta be selfish in terms of, well, I say the word selfish because you kind of have to be. It's your life. At the end of the day, you are gonna live through those decisions, not for anyone else. And God forbid the people who force you to take on these roles, they're not the ones living in your shoes. They're kind of living through you, you know, if that makes sense. But yeah, as I mentioned, it's just like you kind of have to be selfish about what you want to do in life because it's your life and it's your quality of living too. So you have to just live with it. So that's why for me, I just started to think like, what is something that I truly enjoy and that I do not mind doing for the rest of my life? Because as an adult, this is my perception at least, you work until you die. That's essentially it. You just keep working, save money, do some life experiences, get married, get a house, have a family, etc. But you will still constantly come back going to work every single day. So you better at least do something that you enjoy. That was something I told myself. So yeah, it just helps to have these questions. Alright, so we're gonna go over some example of questions that Kim gave us. So if life stopped today, what would you regret not doing? I love this question because since I did nursing, I did have the opportunity to work with geriatrics, meaning like the elderly people. And when I had conversations with geriatrics, they often reminded me, they're like, sweetie, you're young, make sure to live your best life because when you get to my age, you're just gonna keep thinking about the things that you didn't do. You're gonna regret things that you haven't done. So do things you don't regret. And I feel like that resonated with me because as someone who experienced, I don't know if I want to say a traumatic event, like, but it was a huge event in my life when I was young. Regret is very powerful with me. So if I hear someone tell me that you will regret not doing this, it makes me think twice and like think about my decision. So for example, if I move abroad, would I regret it? Is that the best life? Will that life offer me better things, etc.? So regret is a powerful role for me, at least. I don't know if it's the same for you. But yeah, I think it's also important to have the perspective of elderly people to kind of give you an idea on, you know, giving you that courage to do things that you always wanted to do. And I think having someone who told me that definitely helped shape what I wanted to do in my life. What does your ideal day look like? Ideal meaning like, is this something that you want to experience for the rest of your life, right? So what skills do you wish you had? What excites you? What is or are your biggest goals? What is bothering you right now? Where would you like to travel? How do you challenge yourself? What does success mean to you? What are you afraid of? Oh, this one's really important. It's also really important to recognize what is it that you feared. I know that when I was younger, the number one thing I feared was the unknown. So what I mean by that is not being prepared, not knowing that there's something I can counter attack this problem, you know? So especially as someone who was dropped out of nursing school, like the fact that it was like my security blanket was gone, the fear of not having stability, not knowing what's gonna happen next, you know? Those were the things I was afraid of because I already had experience in that and I was afraid to experience it again. Like, what if education was not a stable job for me, you know? So these were things I really had to reflect on and think about and review my options before going, like, heading into what I wanted to do. So I think it's important that people recognize what their fears are and kind of like learning to embrace them. I wouldn't say avoid it, embrace it, you know, because fear is normal. You have to recognize what you are afraid of. That way you're able to move on and move forward. Also, I realize, is this music on repeat? I hope it's not. Sorry, guys. If it is, I apologize. Anyways, what are your strengths and weaknesses? No, not the interview type of question. So, interview question, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Strengths and weaknesses is essentially what I'm asking is that you know your strengths as a worker and your weaknesses are technically your strength in working environments. No, this is like weakness as in what is your real weakness? What do you consider is one of your biggest problems, etc. Also, hello Learning James, welcome. And also Teacher Sabby, good to see you. Sorry for responding late. Strengths and weaknesses, let's see. For example, one of my biggest weaknesses is that I am emotionally influenced. So what I mean by that is that if I don't feel like, let's see my weakness. If I go to work and let's say I have colleagues who constantly make me feel under stress, and I also have to deal with people that does trigger stress and I don't feel like that's that support, I have a higher chance of not wanting to come to work because it's like I hate my job. Like, why would I want to show up for it? And I still remember it was one of the jobs I've taken. I hate to just say it, like I worked at an ice cream shop, and that was one of the times I really hated going to work. Like, even though I made really good money with this part-time job, the problem was my colleagues were toxic. They were unhealthy. They always talked bad about each other. They always had an issue about me, and I'm like, I don't even do much. Like, I do my best, but they were annoyed of like every little small thing that I did, and I was like, okay, like I don't understand. No one wanted to help me or give feedback. They just like to talk smack behind my back. And just working when there were long queues of customers who wanted ice cream and I was by myself, it was so stressful. So I know for a fact that if I am in an environment that's stressful, I want to be around people who can support and have your back, you know, and you have good colleagues, etc. So with my current job, I work in a very stressful environment, but I'm thankful that my colleagues are really, like, they're genuinely really nice people. And they are essentially what keeps me going in my job, because it's like, okay, I can tolerate my work because I have these people who have my back. We all share the same, like similar negative experiences, and we vent and we just work it out together. So there's that. So yeah, I think what's important to me is that this job has to stimulate me, that inspires me to keep coming back to work. I have to have something that is of my interest. So I think that's really important for people to recognize. And this was not something I learned at the beginning. This was through life experiences, guys. So going through work, I found out about this about myself. Seeing it multiple times in multiple environments, that definitely did that for me. And I also realized if I love the job itself, I kind of learned that I could tolerate things. I'm not gonna say much about this, but I had a tutoring job once where I loved it because it was related to ESL. I loved working with the students who wanted to improve their English, but the problem was that the environment outside of ESL, so other tutors in this area, like in different subjects, they would have beef with us for some reason. Beef meaning like they had problems with us. I don't know what we did wrong. They were just angry at us. I'm like, what did we do? Like, we're just chilling in the back of the room, we're doing what we want to do, etc. So yeah, as you can see, I'm just like, if I have an environment like that, I'm like, that's kind of toxic. That's not good. It also reminds me of another job that I worked as a teacher, and basically I did have the support of my colleagues, but the problem was that there was too much pressure or not a lot of understanding when it came to things that I was kind of short-handed on. And even though I communicated like, hey, you know, I'm gonna submit things a little late because I'm prioritizing my education, so I'm in my master's program right now, they still did not, they were still unhappy with my performance, even though I gave them that heads up that there will be times I will be late because, hello, I'm still going through school. So I was very upfront about that, and I guess they were not happy with it, and I'm like, what? Okay. But anyways, so recognizing stuff like that, these all came with, again, just going through life, job experiences. Just reflect on your experience, and if you have clubs, for example, those kind of count as experiences. So if you join a club in school, whether it is like middle school up to college, you might notice some of these environments that can affect your choices. Next, what's holding you back from making a life change? Oh, this is a good one too. Sometimes people are just afraid. And I think for me, it was like I was afraid of judgment. That was one of my earliest recognition, is like, what were you afraid of? But nowadays, now that I'm like in my late 20s, what am I? I'm afraid of making regrets, making decisions that I will not be living my best life. I'm also afraid of negative criticism. That's something I kind of learned. Like, you know, if I'm having a online presence, of course you're going to be getting yourself into negative comments and coping with that kind of stuff. I was always afraid, like, okay, whatever am I doing as a teacher that people will talk badly about me? Subjects that I bring on, will it be offensive, etc.? These are just really important questions to consider, you know? And of course, someone who has an online presence, sometimes you don't have the right or the leisure to have privacy anymore, because you lose it once you become quote quote online famous, if that happens to someone, to some people. So yeah, it's just like, I really value my privacy, and I try my best to put a boundary on that, especially like, let's say I'm on teacher mode and this is me as a teacher. I don't want it to overlap with the version of me that is showing my entertainment side, you know, because it might like affect who I am as a teacher. But for me, I'm trying to draw that line. Like, I will not bring topics or stuff that happened on my entertainment side, or the entertainment character of me, for example. I'm not going to bring it while I'm teaching. I'm going to be in teacher mode when I'm in this account, for example. Because I do have multiple accounts. This is something I realized while growing up, is that I love to make different versions of myself. What I mean by that is, I do have a stage name when I'm performing as a singer. I identify myself as that name. And then here I'm the homebody teacher, because I'm teaching right now. So this is the environment I'm providing at the moment. So it's still me, but it's just knowing when to act appropriately, right? So yeah, that's something I'm afraid of, is that people might just be like, oh, did you know this teacher did this and they're doing that, etc. And it might be like against their views or something. So yeah, those are things that I realized I was afraid of, and it was nice to talk to people in a safe environment who are like, you know what, you bring something to the table, etc. And some people will like it, some people will not like it, and you gotta be okay with that. So yeah, so think about things that are holding you back from a life change. Next, if money wasn't an issue, what would you be doing? This is a safe question. Of course, it's just giving you an idea of what choices you want to make in life, and then describe your perfect life. I love the quotes on here. Remember, when you say things like quotes around it, that means it's subjective, meaning that it's your choice. It's what you think is perfect for you. So my perfect life is not the same as you guys, because it's basically tailored for me and what I want to do. And we definitely have the song playing on repeat. Sorry, guys. We're just changing the music. And great question. What will you do is the question here. So yeah, think about your perfect life. So for me, this is at least my perception of it. My perfect life is living a life where I'm constantly inspired. I need creativity and inspiration to get me through life, honestly. Like, if I see someone, for example, if there's a teacher that does this and it looks really fun, of course I want to gravitate towards that or draw influence and inspiration from that, because I think it would be fun, I think the students would enjoy it, etc. So I definitely feel like creativity is very strong with me as a teacher, and creativity is something I also really enjoy as a student. So it's not just in teaching, it's also when I am experiencing life. So for example, if I'm singing, if I'm allowed to be creative, I have a lot of a fun time doing that. I remember in dance, I went dancing on Monday night for level 3 in West Coast Swing, and the theme was just being creative. And I was so excited for that class because I knew that I am a creative dancer. I love to try out new things. I've often received praises from my lead dancers who are like, oh, that was cool, or like, nice, like good timing, etc. So I know I am very creative as a person overall. So creativity is just something that I want to pursue in my perfect life, etc. So again, I apologize that I talked too much about answering the questions, but I hope like these were fun conversation starters for you. Next, give gratitude. Okay, this one's also important to talk about, is that always be grateful, always just be happy with what you have, you know, because it's baby steps. You don't want to be overwhelmed at this time, especially when you're in a quarter life crisis. You are already overwhelmed, so it's good to sit down and just have gratitude. During a quarter life crisis, we tend to focus on things that went wrong, especially that's wrong with our lives. This can be depressing. Take a second to think of all the things you've been grateful for. And I think this is a really good advice here, because you need to ground yourself. You are doing the best that you can. I remember back then I used to be upset with like why my body wasn't able to do certain things. What I mean by like that is like, I constantly put myself down like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Or how come I didn't do this and this? Like, how come I can't cope with my emotions? Because as I mentioned before, my weaknesses included like just being an emotional person. I was really hard on myself. So it's important to just recognize, hey, take a breath. Your body is doing the best it can. Your mind is doing the best it can to adjust to these major changes. So it's important to make a list and also write it out, just be grateful for things that you've done for the day. Take it one day at a time. So it's really good to just have that moment for yourself. Next, create goals and write them down. Think about your future. It may help to look at the answers from yourself. Assessment, see above, which are the questions that we already answered. What is it you want to accomplish? What is your end target? This may change in the future. This is actually a really good one. Your end target constantly changes, so don't always think like, oh, this is my answer. I'm definitely gonna I'm going to definitely commit and pursue this. As you go through life, your end goal will constantly change. Like I had a goal where I was gonna move to Indonesia and then just get married and live there, and then that didn't happen. Then I decided, since I'm in dancing, I think I want to stay in California and be part of a team. And I realized that's not my end game anymore. And then I realized, I want to do YouTube and teach ESL online or EFL online. And then I'm just like, then where would I go? So it constantly changes. And you need to ask yourself, what are the steps that you want to accomplish to reach this end goal? It's good to have a direction. I think this question is really good in safeguarding and giving you that security blanket that you're looking for, because you have at least a direction rather than just be like, you don't know where to go from here. So understand that you should have a direction, but do not set it in stone just because life can happen and you constantly change your answers. And that's perfectly okay. And then start off your setting small time bound goals, 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months. Once you accomplish these smaller goals, begin to challenge yourself with the bigger goals. Again, baby steps, guys, just baby steps. We use the SMART goal theory. We do use this during the language acquisition sections when I do have those streams on, when I'm streaming, when I'm learning a language with you guys. So next, we are going to talk about what these SMART goals are, the representations of this acronym. S is for specific. Be specific with your goals. Ensure they are narrowed down. Oh, I want to travel the world. No, that's not specific. I want to travel Asia. Nope, not specific either. In November, I want to travel Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand within a 3-month span. Okay, great. We're getting specific now. So yeah, be very specific on your goals. Measurable. How are you going to track your progress? A for action. What actions are you going to take to move closer to your goal? R, realistic. Can you realistically achieve this goal? Reach for the stars, but be real with yourself. And T, time bound. Have a timeline. It's not the end of the world if you do not accomplish your goals by the timeline you set for yourself. But if you don't set one at all, your motivation will fade. And I think this is really important. Just make SMART goals like 2 weeks, or maybe do a SMART goal once a week or something, and then build up until you have 1 month, 3 months, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. And you just want to build it up so at least you have some sort of direction. So take it small first, and then once you start to see a bigger picture, you can make bigger goals. Next, begin to make cuts. This is when the action comes in. It's the scary part. You've walked to the edge of the cliff, and now it's time to take the jump. There are dreamers and there are doers. Which one are you? Look at your life now, your job, your location, your relationships, whatever it is that is making you unhappy that you want to change, write down a list. Now cut those things out. You hate your job? Quit. Hate your living? Move. In a toxic relationship? Break up. I understand it's easier said than done, but making cuts is how you take action now. Action is the key to change. Cutting aspects of your life will also give you the space to explore other routes, explore and discover things that interest you. Yes, I actually really like this conversation, and I feel like this needs to be normalized. Hopefully it is at this time, but if you don't enjoy your job, don't bother staying there any longer. You know, go give yourself the opportunity to explore, do something else, try something new. If you don't like where you live, move. So for example, for me, I do plan to move to a different country, hopefully sometime this year, where I know for a fact living in California, as comfortable as I am, I have a roof over my head, I have all this nice setup, I live with my parents, of course, so it helps with paying the bills and stuff, that I play a small role in just like giving a cut to paying bills and stuff. It's just the thing is, I realize as comfortable as I am as an adult here, I am not growing in terms of my field of expertise. I notice this pattern where I constantly dread going to work. Like, I mean, I understand that the job I currently have is good and it's good for the students that I'm teaching, but I'm not enjoying it myself because it's not something I am interested in. Like, I'm put as a I'm assigned as a math tutor, and I'm like, I'm not a math tutor in any shape or form, but here I am teaching math, and I'm like, okay. But yeah, as you can see, it's just like sometimes I question, like, why am I going through this job if I don't enjoy it? So I'm holding out because the contract is almost over in like 2 months, and I'm just making ends meet for myself for the time being. As much as I care for the kids, it's just sometimes it can feel very stressful working in this environment where I have kids who are not coming from healthy backgrounds, unfortunately, and they take it out during school. And sometimes the teachers, the adults, are the punching bags to this kind of environment, which is unfortunate. And that takes a lot of stress on me, as you guys know. And because we're working on math, as you guys know, I don't like math. So somehow I'm surviving a little bit. But anyways, yeah, so I would not hate where you're living. I'm thinking. Yeah, so that's why I'm like, I don't want to stay in this job any longer after I finish this rotation. It's because it's just like, I'm not growing as a teacher anymore. Like, I got my experience in the first 3 months or so. Like, I feel grateful for what I have, but now it's like, I don't like it here anymore. Like, after that, after I think December or maybe January, that's where I thought, like, you know, I'm kind of tired. I don't want to grow anymore. I mean, not grow. I don't want to be in this environment anymore because I'm not growing anymore. I feel like I'm just constantly challenged for things that I don't like. And one of them being like management. Like, I like working with adults, higher level students, like middle school, high school, more high school-ish, because it's like the choices you make, you know what's gonna happen, the consequences that'll take place, right? So that's on you, not me. Whereas for children, it's like management, and I'm like, I don't want to do that because it wastes so much time just trying to tell people to sit down and focus. It's so annoying. But yeah, anyways, I digress. It's important to recognize what's not good for your life, or as Marie Kondo would say, if it does not spark joy in your life, remove it, essentially. Okay, learn to be comfortable alone. Some people say comfortable. I say comfortable. So learn to be comfortably alone. In order to be happy with your life, you have to be happy with yourself first. And I feel like this is also very important because essentially, if your body, for example, if your mental health is not good, of course you're not going to be in a good headspace. You might not even feel like yourself when you're interacting with people. So I feel like it's your responsibility. It definitely is your responsibility to be happy, you know, like find things that make yourself happy. Don't make people be the reason to make you happy. You got to find that for yourself. Learn how to spend time with yourself and nobody else. This way you can focus on improving yourself without distractions. You can hone in on what is it that it brings you joy, develop new skills, and focus on your next steps that will get you out of this quarter life crisis. I actually really appreciate this because, as you guys probably know, I am an introvert, or technically I'm an omnivert. So as an omnivert, I go through one extreme to another extreme. So I can be an extrovert in my job, for example, because as a teacher, you have to be You have to communicate a lot. You have to interact with people. So more of my extroverted side shows up when I'm engaging with people in this kind of field. And a lot of people are surprised when I tell them I'm actually an introvert when it comes to recharging. It's because I need a lot of alone time to just reflect, decompress, and just think about like things that I've done, etc. And a lot of times I like to relax all by myself. Like I don't want to be around people. I don't want to entertain anyone. I just want to be by myself and just chill. So being comfortable with being alone is super healthy for me. I know some people do not like the idea of being... Sorry, that's my phone. Some people don't like the idea of just being by themselves, right? So here's the thing. There's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Being lonely is just recognizing you don't have companionship and like you're essentially all by yourself, you can't connect with anyone, etc. That is more of a negative experience that people associate with being alone, but they're not the same thing. You can be alone and enjoy that time by yourself. So for me, when I'm alone, I like to work on my passion projects, doing this stuff with you guys. Like this is my introvert mode It's my introvert mode, but also my extrovert mode. You know what I mean? Like being introvert, like I like to pursue topics that I enjoy, learn this by myself. But my extrovert is teaching this to you guys, so you're seeing more of my extroverted side at the moment. So yeah. So in order to be happy with your life, you have to be happy with yourself first. Okay. And I think this is important too because, again, if you journal and you reflect on this stuff, it's a time for you for self-growth. So find being alone is an opportunity to get to know yourself better. Because every day I'm still learning new things about myself. You know, like even I'm in my late 20s, I know myself really well at this point. But I know that there are moments where, you know, there are things that I just cannot tolerate like I used to when I was younger. Like, for example, if I'm in an environment with yelling kids, I'm like, I know for a fact I cannot deal with that environment for long term because I will go crazy and I will eventually just like snap at these kids, you know? So I just have to just be patient with myself and know like, okay, I gotta chill, don't react on that, etc. Anyways, prepare to be overwhelmed or even depressed. Coping with a quarter-life crisis is not easy. Making drastic changes in your life does not happen in a day, and you will be challenged in ways that you never thought you would be challenged. Some days will be so overwhelming that you want to give up. Be prepared for this. It's okay to feel this way, just don't let it take over you completely. Remember your goals, get out of bed, wipe those tears, take a breather, and keep pushing. Life may get overwhelming, but resiliency is key. Resiliency just basically means you will have that the energy or like resiliency is just the experience of just overcoming hardship, you know? So I learned that in life you will be knocked down many times. I've been knocked down throughout my early 18-year-old chapter when I was getting into adulthood. I've been knocked down when I turned 21, when I thought I was an adult. I've been knocked down when I'm 25. And yeah, it just never stops. It's a never-ending cycle where you're just constantly like pushed to the ground, and you just have to be resilient. You gotta get up because no matter what, you will get up. I always like to think of the fact, like, you know, like even as an adult, look at babies when they're pushed down, they always get back up. So by default, I believe the human spirit is able to, you know, be resilient and handle things as long as they have the support of people, they know themselves, and they just trust the process. Because, you know, this is a quarter-life crisis is not easy, all right? So just remember that. And having a support system is very important. So turn to friends and family, ask for help and advice, let someone know what you're going through so you're not alone. It's more than likely that your friends or family have been through the same sort of situation. They were here to help you and to hold your hand during this tough transition. You do not have to be totally alone, which is true. So like reach out when you need to, you know, just remember that. And of course, take a trip or travel. Temporarily escaping your day-to-day bubble can help reset your mind. It is extremely therapeutic and relieving to physically be away from whatever it is that's causing you stress and anxiety. Traveling is also a great way to reconnect with yourself, friends, Mother Nature, and you might even discover something new about yourself. This is actually very healthy, and I needed to do this more often. Going to Japan was healing for me, so I realized being away from home, being in an environment that excited me, especially in Japan where it brought out the best for me, I was linguistically stimulated, meaning like when I was learning Japanese before my trip, prior to my trip, I've never learned language as fast as I did when I was in Japan. I was taking in words that I was recognizing quickly. I was recognizing patterns, and I could actually draw conclusion to what people were saying, even though I didn't know the exact words for it. So linguistically, I was so excited. I was like, oh my god, it's been so long since I felt like this. The last time I felt like this was probably Indonesia, where I just kind of grasped at straws at that time, but now I'm more of a linguistic expert in learning languages or language acquisition, so I'm just like, I'm able to pick up things much faster than I did before. So yeah, I feel like being in Japan healed me a lot in that aspect. But yeah, go ahead and go take trips. I encourage it. Go take a B&B away from home for like a weekend. You need it. Like, being in a new environment does something great for you. So I love that. I also notice whenever I'm in a different environment, I am more focused in work, which is funny. Whereas when I'm at home, it's like, I can't focus. Anyways, take care of your mental health and physical health. The overwhelming amount of stress and anxiety that clouds your mind during a quarter-life crisis can be detrimental, meaning like it can be extremely bad on your well-being. So it's extremely important to take care of yourself physically and mentally. Exercise routinely a few times a week and eat well. As for your mental health, practice meditation, do activities that bring you joy, and hang out with people who make you smile. Try new things. Self-discovery revolves around discovery. Do things you've never done before. Take classes and courses in subjects you've always been interested in. So keyword, if it's something you like, give it a try. But never had the courage or time to do so. But the more things you try, the more opportunities you're giving yourself to find what it is that truly makes you happy. Once you find it, run with it and don't let go. This is really important, especially when you are like, let's say you're entering your new chapter in life. Try something. It never hurts. At least you, whatever you do in life, especially if you have some interest in it, do something that you do have some sort of interest. Even if you don't know if you will like it, you will always walk away with knowledge, knowing that this is something you definitely enjoy or something you don't like. So you know from that point on, you don't have to do it again. So I think it's really important that you just try. Walk in with an open mind and then see if it's something that you enjoy. So for example, I think I was not open-minded when it came to dancing. If you met me in my younger years, I would be very vehement in saying that I don't like to dance. I don't want to dance because I have 2 left feet. And I was constantly teased for the way I danced. I was very stiff back in the day. So that made me feel so insecure. So I hated dancing when I was younger. But now as an adult, I pursue dance like 4 times a week because it's so fun to dance to music. I find anything related to music is fun for me. I find myself tapping my foot when I'm singing, etc., or just listening to the radio. So I realized, yeah, I do have some sort of affinity with dance. So now, after a year being in dance, it's like I realize I'm actually really good at it. If I actually gave myself a chance when I was younger, maybe I might have been an excellent partner dancer or social dancer, etc. So yeah, be open-minded, do stuff like that. And then the magic is in you. I like that. Last one, accept, be patient, and don't give up. At the end of the day, it's never too late to make yourself happy. A quarter-life crisis is your calling to make the changes you need to make in order to love the life you live. The process to get there will be difficult and it might take more time than you'd hope for, but remember your goals and don't give up on them for yourself. That's actually a very nice reminder. But yes, essentially from your early 20s until you feel a little bit more solidified in your mid-20s to later, always be patient, always accept, be resilient, always like give your time to heal when needed and then get back up again. Just don't give up, because everyone in one shape or form has gone through what you went through, so don't feel like you are alone in this. And it was really nice for me to meet people who are much older and see people like, you know, no matter the age, they will always revisit the same things again. So for example, just when you think you are going to be stable, you're going to meet instability. You're going to meet someone who has graduated school already and they go back to school and take another degree because they realize, okay, they need a degree in something else, unfortunately. or that's the direction they want to go through, or it's something that they wanted to pursue but they couldn't the first time around. Everyone has different reasons why they're doing something different, you know, and it's not your job to criticize or judge them. Your job is to worry about yourself, find things that is important to you, and then just move on with it. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the read and just reflecting with me on this. Technically, I would have loved to keep going because we have more questions, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and save that for tomorrow. And the questions for midlife crisis can definitely wait until either tomorrow or the day after. So there's that. Yeah, I saw Teacher Gloria English was here and Mr. Pro 5511. Hello, sorry. I didn't get to say hello to you guys. But yes, that is it for now in terms of this excerpt or this reading. So I'm gonna save the questions for tomorrow. We're gonna go ahead and jump to questions, comments, concerns, or suggestions. I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. I spent a little bit more time on the reading and just talking to you guys because I want to make up for the fact that I wasn't here for the last 3 weeks, and I have to go and get ready now because I have work in a few minutes or so. So there's that. A reminder, I do have conversation practice again Thursday, tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Fingers crossed again if I wake up on time. It's fortunate that I was able to wake up at 5 a.m. So here I am, guys. Here I was, technically speaking. So tomorrow, hopefully no cancellations. But if I do, again, it's probably the melatonin that's taking place, and I apologize for that. English for everyone. So we have grammar next week. And we also have conversation practice resuming again next Tuesday. So yeah, thank you guys for holding out if you got to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. I will always be updating news on what's happening on Discord. So go ahead and join that, which is in the link of my description. I don't know what I'm saying, sorry. You can find the link to my description below in YouTube, or you can access the link if you are on my profile for the Homebody teacher. There's a link that you can click on, and once you open the link, there's another link that says join my Discord, and then you can click that and you're in. So I will update you if anything happens, but hopefully not. Things will hopefully be okay for tomorrow's stream. And yeah, that'll be it. So I gotta go, guys. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Bye bye.